The space station Concordia hung in the dark void like a shining wheel. Inside its gleaming halls, Ambassador Jun Kim adjusted his formal suit and took a deep breath. 5 years after humans learned they were not alone in the universe, they were finally invited to join the Galactic Council. "Remember, we are here as equals," Jun said to his team, "not as beggars." Dr. Suk Park nodded, her eyes bright with curiosity. As Earth's top scientist, she had studied alien technology since first contact. Next to her stood Captain Tae Ryu, his military posture never relaxing. His hand rested near his hip, where a weapon would normally be. "The council chamber is ready for you, Ambassador," said a blue-skinned aide. The three humans followed the alien down a long hallway. The walls were carved with the history of the Galactic Council. 27 species united in peace, or so they claimed. "They say the right things," whispered Ta, "but their ships still carry weapons." Jun nodded slightly. Earth had learned caution the hard way. When the aliens first arrived, humans celebrated. Then came the trade deals that favored the aliens. The helpful technology that never quite worked right. The military exercises near Earth's space. The grand doors slid open. The council chamber was a vast room with a round table, 27 seats for 27 species, and one empty chair for Earth. High Counselor Vex rose from the center seat. His gray skin looked like stone, and his 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "The humans have arrived," Vex announced. His voice was deep and smooth. "Welcome to Concordia, Ambassador Kim." Jun bowed slightly. "Thank you for inviting us, High Counselor." The other council members watched with different expressions. Some looked curious. Others seemed bored. A few showed clear dislike. "Humans have surprised us all," Vex continued. "Your technology has grown faster than any species we have seen. In just 5 years, you have built ships that can travel between stars. Your computers have solved problems that troubled us for centuries." Jun kept his face neutral. The compliments felt hollow. "We believe it is time for humans to join our great community," Vex said. "These talks will set the terms of your membership." At the far end of the table, a slender alien with silver skin caught Jun's eye. This was Counselor Nar of the Lyrians. Unlike the others, Nar's gaze held something like warning. "We are honored," Jun replied carefully. "Earth looks forward to fair and equal membership." Vex's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "Of course, all members are equal." The way he said equal made Ta tense beside Jun. "Please be seated." Vex gestured to the empty chair. "We have much to discuss." As Jun took his seat, Dr. Park passed him a small data tablet. On it was a message. "Their terms are already written. This is not a negotiation." Jun gave no sign he had read it. Instead, he smiled at the council. "Then let us begin," he said. "Earth has prepared its own proposals as well." A murmur ran through the chamber. This was not what they expected. Humans were supposed to be grateful, to accept whatever was offered. Vex's 4 eyes all focused on Jun. "You have proposals." "Of course," Jun replied, as equal partners often do. The first silent battle had begun, and as Jun placed Earth's formal requests on the table, he knew the council had made a serious mistake. They had underestimated humans. Many had made this error before. None had made it twice. 2 weeks had passed since the talks began. Ambassador Jun sat in the human quarters, his eyes tired from reading endless documents. Captain Ta paced the room while Dr. Suk studied data on her screen. "They're stalling," Ta said. 2 weeks, and not one real answer to our proposals." Jun nodded. "They want us tired, frustrated, ready to accept anything." The door chimed. A council aide entered with a thick folder. "High Counselor Vex presents the official terms for Earth's membership," the aide said. Then he left quickly. Dr. Suk opened the folder and scanned the pages. Her eyes grew wide. "This is not a partnership," she whispered. "This is surrender," Ta finished, reading over her shoulder. Jun took the papers and read them carefully. The terms were clear. Earth must limit its military ships to 100, all under Council inspection. Earth must share all new technology with the Council first. Earth must pay 30% of all mining resources as membership tax. Earth could only trade with Council-approved planets. These are standard terms for new members. June read aloud from Vex's note. Dr. Suk shook her head and pulled out her data tablet. I've been studying other species agreements. None faced these restrictions. She showed June the screen. The Micteri had only 5% resource tax. The Zendalians kept full military independence. The Osoth shared only medical technology. We're being singled out, Ta said. His voice was cold with anger. June studied the terms again. The question is why. Dr. Suk's fingers flew over her tablet. I've been watching their reactions during the talks. They fear us. Us. Ta laughed. Their fleets could destroy Earth in days. Not our weapons, Dr. Suk said. Our minds. Our speed. Most Council species take centuries to develop. We've matched them in decades. The next morning, June entered the Council chamber with the folder. All 27 alien representatives watched him. Ambassador Kim, High Counselor Vex said smoothly, "Have you reviewed our generous terms?" June placed the folder on the table. "I have questions about these terms." Vex's 4 eyes blinked one after another. "These are standard protocols. All members accept them." "That is not true," June said firmly. "We've compared your offer to agreements with other species. Earth faces unique restrictions." Murmurs spread around the table. Counselor Nar of the Lyrians looked down, avoiding June's eyes. "Your species advances too quickly," said another counselor. "These terms ensure stability." "They ensure Earth remains weak," Captain Ta said. Vex's stone-like face hardened. "Your species is dangerously unpredictable. These terms protect the Council." "From what?" June asked. "We've shown only peaceful intentions." "For now," Vex said, his voice turned cold. "Humans are primitive. You fight among yourselves. Your history is full of war. We must contain you for the good of all." The room fell silent. The truth was finally spoken. June stood straight. Earth will not accept these terms. Vex leaned forward. "You have 48 hours to reconsider. Accept our terms or face isolation. No trade. No technology exchange. No protection." As the humans left the chamber, a small aide approached them. She was Lyrian, like Counselor Nar, with silvery skin. "Ambassador," she whispered, looking around nervously. "My name is Mina. Not all Council members agree with Vex, but many fear speaking out." "Why tell us this?" Dr. Suk asked. Mina's silver eyes met June's. "Because what happens to Earth today will happen to others tomorrow." As she hurried away, June knew the next 2 days would change humanity's future forever. Ambassador June sat alone in the secure communication room on Concordia Station. The quantum link to Earth hummed softly. On the large screen before him, President Jun Lee and the Earth Council waited. June had just finished telling them about the Council's demands. "They want us weak," President Lee said, her voice firm despite the millions of miles between them. "They fear what humans might become." "Yes," June agreed. "We have 46 hours left to decide." The Earth Council members looked at each other. Some faces showed fear, others anger. "What happens if we refuse?" asked Defense Minister Han. "Isolation," June answered. "No trade. No help. Earth alone against whatever comes." Trade Minister Dai shook his head. "We've built our new economy around alien technology and resources. Isolation could crash our markets. But accepting makes us slaves in all but name," said Minister Han. "Our ships controlled. Our resources taken. Our discoveries stolen." President Lee listened to all sides. Her eyes never left June's face on the screen. "Ambassador, what do you recommend?" she finally asked. June took a deep breath. "We walk away." Gasps came from several ministers. Explain, President Lee said. The council needs us more than they admit, Jun said. Dr. Suk has studied their trade data. In just 5 years, human goods have become important to many council worlds. The door to the communication room slid open. Dr. Suk and Captain Ta entered. Show them, Jun said. Dr. Suk sent data to Earth. 7 council species now depend on human medicines. 5 use our computer systems, and 3 small worlds get most of their food from Earth farms. Captain Ta stepped forward. My security team has also gathered intelligence. The council is divided. Some wanted to welcome us fairly. Others wanted to attack Earth immediately. These unfair terms were their compromise. If we accept, we show weakness, Jun continued. If we walk away, we show strength. And strength is the only thing the council truly respects. President Lee nodded slowly. What about this Lyrian who contacted you? Mina, Jun said. She took a great risk. It suggests we have potential allies on the council. Captain Tata's communication device beeped. He checked it, and his eyes widened. Speaking of Mina, he said, she just sent a message. The council has prepared ships to blockade Earth if we refuse. The Earth Council erupted in angry voices. President Lee raised her hand for silence. Then we must decide now, she said. Ministers, vote. Do we accept these terms or walk away? One by one, the ministers voted. Despite their fears, despite the risks, the vote was unanimous. Ambassador Kim, President Lee announced, Earth has decided. We will not accept unfair terms. We will not be controlled. We will walk away. Jun bowed his head in respect. I will inform the council tomorrow. After the call ended, Dr. Suk looked worried. What if we're wrong? What if they attack? Jun placed a hand on her shoulder. Then humans will do what we've always done when faced with bullies. We'll stand together and fight. Captain Ta's device beeped again. Another message from Mina. She wants to meet, he said. Tonight. In secret. Jun nodded. Tell her yes. That night, in a forgotten storage area of Concordia, Mina handed Jun a small data crystal. The council has lied about many things, she whispered. This shows their true plans for Earth. They never intended to treat you as equals. Why help us? Dr. Suk asked. Mina's silver eyes gleamed in the dim light. Because some of us remember when our worlds were treated the same way. History must not repeat itself. As she slipped away, Jun held the crystal that might change everything. Tomorrow, they would make their stand. The council chamber was full. All 27 representatives sat at the round table, waiting. High Counselor Vex sat tall in his central chair, his stone-like face showing no emotion. But his 4 eyes kept moving to the door. The humans are late, someone muttered. Perhaps they are still deciding how to beg for better terms, another replied with a laugh. The massive doors slid open. Ambassador Jun entered with Dr. Suk and Captain Ta. They walked slowly, their faces calm. Behind them came 4 more humans carrying boxes of documents and equipment. Ambassador Kim, Vex said, we trust you bring Earth's acceptance of our generous offer. Jun stood before his chair but did not sit. I bring Earth's response, yes. The room grew quiet. Even those who had been whispering fell silent. Jun looked at each council member, one by one. Some met his eyes. Others looked away. For 5 years, Jun began, humans have reached out to the stars with open hands. We shared our culture, our resources, our discoveries. We believed in a galaxy where all species could stand as equals. He picked up a copy of the council's terms from the table. These terms do not speak of equality. They speak of control. They speak of fear. Vex leaned forward. You test our patience, human. Your answer. Jun placed the papers back on the table. Earth has viewed the data crystal provided by those on the council who still believe in true fairness. Gasps filled the room. Several council members looked at each other in confusion. Counselor Nar of the Lyrians kept very still. eyes down. "We now understand the Council never intended to welcome us as equals," Jun continued. "You plan to use these talks to weaken us, to bind us with unfair rules, and eventually to control Earth completely. This is outrageous." Vex stood, his voice echoing in the chamber. "What lies have you been told?" Jun remained calm. "Not lies. Your own secret plans, recorded in your own words." He turned to Dr. Suk, who nodded. "The crystal contained Council meeting records from before our arrival. We have translated them fully." Vex's gray skin darkened with anger. "This changes nothing. Your time is up. Accept our terms or face the consequences." Jun looked at him without fear. "Earth rejects your terms. Earth rejects your threats. Earth rejects the false promise of the Galactic Council." The chamber erupted in shouts. Some council members pounded on the table. Others sat in shocked silence. "You cannot simply walk away," Vex shouted over the noise. Jun smiled slightly. "Watch us." He nodded to his team. The humans began packing their materials. Captain Taz spoke quietly into his communication device, alerting their ship to prepare for departure. "If you leave," Vex warned, "there will be no return. Earth will be cut off, isolated, vulnerable. We would rather stand alone in freedom than kneel together in chains," Jun replied. He turned and walked toward the door. His team followed. No one tried to stop them. As they reached the exit, Counselor Nar finally looked up. For just a moment, Jun saw something in the Lyrian's silver eyes. Hope, perhaps, or admiration. "This is not over," Vex called after them. "You will come crawling back when you realize what you've done." Jun paused at the doorway and turned. The entire council watched him. "Humanity survived ice ages, plagues, and our own terrible wars," he said quietly. "We crossed oceans on wooden ships. We reached our moon with computers less powerful than a child's toy. We will survive whatever comes." He bowed slightly. "The question, Counselor, is will you?" The doors closed behind the humans, leaving the council in stunned silence. As they walked down the long hallway, they passed junior representatives from many worlds. These younger diplomats watched with wide eyes as the humans walked tall, heads high. "Ambassador," Captain Ta said softly, "our ship reports council vessels moving into position around the station." Jun nodded. "As expected. Are we ready?" "Our engines are primed for emergency jump," Ta confirmed. "We can be halfway to Earth before they decide what to do." Dr. Suk looked back at the council chamber doors. "Do you think any of them will stand with us?" "It doesn't matter," Jun said. "We stand for ourselves now." The council chamber was in chaos. High Counselor Vex shouted for order, but few listened. Some representatives argued with each other. Others hurried to send messages to their homeworlds. Silence. Vex finally roared, pounding his fist on the table. "This is not a disaster. It is one stubborn species making a foolish choice." Counselor Nar of the Lyrians stood slowly. His silver skin gleamed under the chamber lights. "Is it foolish?" he asked quietly. "Or did we push them too far?" Vex's 4 eyes narrowed. "You question council wisdom. I question our methods," Nar replied. "The humans offered fair trade. We demanded control." Another counselor, round-bodied with green scales, interrupted. "The humans have already left the station. Their ship made an emergency jump toward Earth's space." Vex smiled coldly. "Let them run. They will soon learn the cost of defying the council." Just then, a young aide rushed into the chamber, breathing hard. "Counselors, the trading networks, they're showing massive changes." A large screen lit up on the wall. Numbers and charts flashed red. Trading values were dropping across council space. "What is happening?" demanded Vex. The aide's voice shook. "All human merchants are withdrawing from council markets, all at once. They're pulling out their goods, canceling contracts, and returning to Earth space." Silence fell across the chamber. Then the shouting began again, louder than before. My world depends on human medical supplies, cried one counselor. Our farming systems use human computers, shouted another. This is clearly a planned attack on our economy, Vex declared. The humans prepared for this. Counselor Nar shook his head. No, they prepared to leave if treated unfairly. There is a difference. Reports continued to pour in. Human ships were departing from every trading hub in Council space. They moved in organized groups, protecting each other. Some Council officials tried to stop them, but the humans had planned well. Our trade experts predict serious shortages within days, reported the aide. 6 Council worlds are already requesting emergency supplies. Vex stood tall, trying to appear confident. We will adjust. The Council existed long before humans appeared. We will manage without them. Will we? Asked Nar. In just 5 years, they became essential to many of our worlds. What does that tell you about humans? That we allowed them too much freedom, Vex snapped. A mistake we will not repeat. The chamber doors opened again. A military officer entered, her uniform crisp and formal. Council patrols report unusual activity at human borders, she announced. Their defense fleet is repositioning. They appear to be preparing for possible conflict. Fear rippled through the room. Everyone knew human ships were fewer in number, but remarkably advanced. They wouldn't dare attack the Council, Vex said, but his voice lacked conviction. They aren't attacking, the officer clarified. They are defending. There's a difference. Counselor Nar looked directly at Vex. Perhaps we should reconsider our approach. Offer new talks with fair terms. Never. Vex slammed his hand down. That would show weakness. And this shows strength. Nar gestured to the economic reports still flashing red on the screen. A small message appeared on Nar's personal device. It was from his aide, Mina. Human Dr. Park requests secure contact. They have information you should see. Nar carefully put the device away. Around him, the Council continued to argue, but he had made his decision. Later, in private, he would speak with the humans. On the main news channels across the galaxy, the story was spreading fast. Humans walk away from Council talks. Markets in freefall. Is this the beginning of a new galactic order? As night fell on Concordia Station, High Counselor Vex sat alone in his chambers. For the first time in centuries, he felt something he had almost forgotten. Fear. 2 weeks had passed since the humans walked away. On Earth, Ambassador June stood at the window of the Global Defense Center. Ships moved in tight formation above the blue planet, ready to protect their home. Our defenses are at full strength, Captain Tay reported. All colonies are on alert. President Junli nodded. And our economy? Better than expected, said Trade Minister Dai. We lost Council markets, but our self-sufficiency plans were already in place. Dr. Sook entered the room, her face excited. You need to see this. She activated the large screen. News from across the galaxy played. The images showed empty shelves in alien markets. Crowds of different species waited for basic goods. Council ships sat idle at ports. The Council tried to hide this, Dr. Sook explained. But we have sources now. Look what happened when we left. Ambassador June watched quietly. They depended on us more than they admitted. Much more, Dr. Sook agreed. 7 Council species have already reached out through back channels. They want private trade agreements with Earth. President Lee raised her eyebrows. Without Council approval, that's against their laws. Hunger beats law every time, Captain Ta said. The screen changed to show Council headquarters on Concordia. Protesters from multiple species gathered outside, demanding action. And there's more, Dr. Sook continued. She played a secure recording. Counselor Nar's silver face appeared. Greetings, Earth leaders. What I share now is dangerous knowledge. The Council did not just fear human military power. They feared human innovation. In 5 years, your technology advanced more than some Council races achieved in centuries. The leaders of Earth looked at each other in surprise. Nar continued. Human medicines have cured diseases we struggled with for generations. Human farming methods produce 3 times the food with half the resources. Human computers solve problems we thought impossible. He leaned closer to the camera. The council planned to control all of this, to take human innovation while keeping humans weak. The terms you rejected were only the beginning. The recording ended. The room was silent. Now we know, Jun said finally. It was never about peace or friendship. It was about taking what we created. Dr. Suk agreed. President Lee stood. So what happens now? A communication officer interrupted. Madam President, we're receiving direct requests from 9 council worlds. They want to send representatives to Earth. Privately. Jun smiled slightly. Now we negotiate, but from strength, not weakness. What about the council? Asked Captain Ta. They won't allow this. They can't stop it, Dr. Suk said. She showed new data on her tablet. Council unity is breaking. 3 smaller species have already announced they're leaving council protection. The next day, Ambassador Jun greeted the first alien ship to arrive without council permission. It was small, trying to avoid detection. When the door opened, Councillor Nar stepped out with his aide Mina. Welcome to Earth, Jun said. You took a great risk coming here. Nar nodded. Not as great as the risk of staying with a failing council. High Councillor Vex has lost control. He speaks of military action against Earth, but half the council now opposes him. And the other half? Asked Captain Ta, who stood nearby. They're afraid, Mina said simply. Afraid of Vex. Afraid of change. Most of all, afraid of humans. Jun led them to a meeting room where President Lee waited. Large windows showed the beautiful blue and green Earth below. We bring a proposal, Nar said. Not from the council, but from 9 worlds who see a different future. A future where we work together, as true equals. President Lee smiled. We would welcome such a future. Far away on Concordia, High Councillor Vex watched his power crumble. Reports showed secret meetings, unauthorized ships heading to Earth, council members openly questioning his leadership. How did this happen? He asked the empty room. How did one species change everything in just 2 weeks? On his screen, human ships continued to patrol their borders, not attacking, just waiting. The humans had not fired a single shot, yet they were winning a war no one had officially declared. A war for the future of the galaxy. 1 month after the humans walked away, the galaxy had changed. The great meeting hall in New Geneva on Earth was filled with representatives from 9 different alien species. They sat in a circle, equal in position, with no high seat for any one world. Ambassador Jun watched as President Lee opened the historic meeting. Welcome to Earth, she said. Today we begin a new chapter in galactic relations. Councillor Nar, no longer wearing council colors, stood next. For too long, the council ruled through fear and control. Today, we choose a different path. Each representative spoke in turn. They told of council restrictions, of unfair trade rules, and of fear that kept them silent for centuries. The humans showed us another way, said Krell of the Micteri, his blue tentacles moving gently as he spoke. They chose freedom over submission. On screens around the galaxy, people of all species watched as the 9 worlds and Earth signed the new alliance treaty. They called it the Mutual Cooperation Alliance. Each member kept their independence but promised to help each other. Captain Tay, standing guard at the ceremony, received an urgent message. He quietly moved to Jun's side. Council ships are moving, he whispered. A large fleet headed toward Lyrian space. Jun nodded slightly. Nar's homeworld was the most vulnerable of their new allies. President Lee must have received the same news. Without pausing the ceremony, she pressed a small button at her podium. Far above Earth, the human defense fleet received their orders. Half the ships immediately jumped to Lyrian space, arriving well before the slower council vessels. When the council fleet arrived, expecting to find a helpless world they could punish, They instead found human ships in defensive formation. The Council commander's voice came through on all channels. "This is Council business. Earth has no right to interfere." Captain Sim, leading the human fleet, replied simply, "We are not interfering. We are protecting our allies, as agreed in the treaty signed 1 hour ago." Back on Earth, the ceremony continued. Dr. Suk presented plans for a joint research center where all member species would share knowledge freely. "Together, we will solve problems none of us could solve alone," she said. Mina, now serving as Lyrian ambassador, added, "And no discovery will be controlled by any one world." The news from Lyrian space arrived. The Council fleet had withdrawn without firing a shot. They could not risk war with the human ships, whose technology they still did not fully understand. Councillor Nar smiled at the news. "This is just the beginning. 3 more worlds have contacted me. They wish to leave the Council and join our alliance." President Lee looked thoughtful. "We must be careful. We do not want to replace one empire with another." "That's why each member has 1 vote," Jun reminded her. "No world can control the others." By the end of the day, the Mutual Cooperation Alliance was official. Trade routes opened between the 10-member worlds. Ships moved freely through each other's space. Information and technology flowed without restriction. On Concordia, the Council was in complete disorder. 6 members had formally announced their withdrawal. Others threatened to follow. High Councillor Vex had locked himself in his chambers, refusing to speak to anyone. The once mighty Council, which had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, was falling apart. Not from war or disaster, but because humans had simply walked away and shown others they could do the same. That night, Ambassador June stood on the balcony of Earth's government center. Above him, ships from 10 worlds moved peacefully in orbit. "Did you expect this when you walked out of that chamber?" Dr. Suk asked, joining him. "No," June admitted. "I only knew we could not accept their terms." "One small step," she said. "One big change." June nodded. "And we're not finished yet." 6 months had passed since humans walked away from the Council talks. Earth had changed. The planet now buzzed with activity as ships from 17 different worlds moved in and out of orbit. What began as 10 Alliance members had grown quickly. Ambassador June, now called Chancellor June, stood in the new Alliance headquarters built in the mountains near Old Geneva. Beside him stood Nar, also a Chancellor now. Together, they led the Mutual Cooperation Alliance. "The last Council transport will arrive today," Nar said, his silver skin catching the morning light. "They finally agreed to send an official representative." June nodded. "After 6 months of pretending we don't exist." The Council had tried everything to break the alliance. First threats, then trade blockades, and finally offers to former members to return with special privileges. Nothing worked. Captain Tai, now Admiral Tai, entered the room. He led the joint security forces that protected all Alliance worlds. "The transport is approaching Earth space," he reported. "One small ship as agreed." "And our guest?" asked June. "Not Vex," Ta said with a small smile. "He was removed from power last month. They're sending Councillor Zim of the Atraxians, a moderate." This was good news. Zim had always been quieter in Council meetings, less aggressive than Vex. Dr. Suk joined them, carrying data tablets. She now led the Alliance Research Initiative, where scientists from all member worlds worked together. Her team had already developed new medicines and farming methods that benefited everyone. "Is everything ready for the summit?" she asked. June looked out the window at the magnificent meeting hall, where representatives from all 17 Alliance worlds would gather tomorrow. Flags from each world hung side by side, Earth's blue and green banner just one among many equals. "Yes," he said. "Everything is ready." President Lee arrived for a final review. In 6 months, she had become known across the galaxy for her fair leadership and clear vision. "Our alliance has achieved more in 6 months than the Council did in its last 100 years, she said, "because we work together instead of controlling each other. When the council transport landed, Counselor Zim stepped out cautiously. The Atraxian looked like a smaller version of Vex, with gray stone-like skin and 4 eyes, but his manner was different, less proud, more thoughtful. "Welcome to Earth," Jun greeted him. Zim bowed slightly. "Thank you for allowing this visit." The remaining council members felt it was time for direct communication. Only 12 species still followed the council now. The others had either joined the alliance or declared independence. "We are always open to communication," President Lee said. "This is the difference between us and the old council." Zim looked around at the bustling spaceport where beings from many worlds worked together without fear. "I see now what Vex refused to see," he said quietly. "You never wanted to replace us. You just wanted fairness." "That's all we ever wanted," Jun agreed. The next day, representatives from all 17 Alliance worlds gathered for the first official summit. The meeting hall was filled with beings of every shape, size, and color. Jun and Nar opened the session together. "6 months ago, humans walked away from unfair terms," Jun began. "We did not know then that we were taking the first step toward a new galactic order. We only knew that true cooperation must be built on equality and respect," Nar continued. "These principles now guide our alliance." From his observer seat, Counselor Zim watched with growing understanding. When he returned to what remained of the council, he would have much to report. As evening fell, Jun stood with President Lee on the headquarters balcony. Ships from 17 worlds lit up the night sky like new stars. "When you walked out of that council chamber," President Lee said, "did you ever imagine this?" Jun shook his head. "I only knew we had to stand up for ourselves. And in doing so, you changed the galaxy." "Not me," Jun said. "All of us. Humans don't achieve great things alone. We achieve them together." Below them, the lights of the Alliance city glowed warm against the darkness. Not an ending, but a beginning. The start of a new chapter in galactic history. A chapter where no one species ruled over others. A chapter written together, as equals.